Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something totally fascinating happening right out there on the cricket pitch. It's the ultimate battle of man versus machine in the 2026 IPL season. We're talking about the epic clash between raw, unpredictable human talent and hyper-advanced predictive math.
There's that old saying, the Indian Premier League has always been unpredictable. A single over can flip the result. And honestly, that's exactly why we love T20 cricket, right? Setting up that tension is crucial because predicting this game is incredibly difficult. And for the longest time, we just sort of accepted that chaos.
Okay, let's dive into this. For the longest time, we relied heavily on, the old era of forecasting. A captain's gut feeling, some pretty basic stats, maybe looking at aggregate total runs. But fast forward to the 2026 reality, oh man, it is hyper-specific. We're talking AI models, massive ball-by-ball datasets, and real-time probability engines just calculating the game literally as it happens. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the data-driven IPL era, the 2026 season results, breakouts and elite finishers, the math of winning, and finally, some case studies in analytics.
Starting with Section 1, the data-driven IPL era, where we move well beyond basic stats.
Teams aren't just flipping over a trading card anymore to look at a batting average. They're building incredibly deep, complex performance models to crack the game. It's wild how granular it's gotten. Analysts are tracking line, length, and even using AI and machine learning to monitor things like player fatigue and travel schedules. The whole idea is to create these dynamic win graphs and calculate real percentage-based probabilities rather than just throwing out fixed opinions.
Moving to Section 2, the 2026 IPL season results, and how the machine predicts the top.
Let's actually ground these theories in the real outcomes of the 70-match league stage. So there was an absolute gridlock of dominance at the top this year. RCB, GT, and SRH completely controlled the board, all locked in this massive three-way tie at 18 points. It literally came down to net run rate to separate them, with RCB claiming the top spot at plus 0.783. Meanwhile, the Rajasthan Royals just snuck into that fourth playoff spot with 16 points. As for the rest of the pack, the Punjab Kings narrowly missed out on qualification with 15 points. But the real shockers? Former five-time champs Mumbai Indians and LSG finishing dead last. They had just 8 points each. An absolutely disastrous 4-win season for both of those powerhouse franchises. All right, Section 3, breakouts and elite finishers, focusing on the human element.
Now let's pivot away from the cold, hard team stats for a second and look at the beautiful, completely unpredictable human players who actively try to break these data models. 15. I just want you to let that number sink in for a second. 15 years old. That is the exact age of the incredible Rajasthan Royals opening batter, Vaibhav Suryavanshi. This kid literally rewrote the record books this year. He blasted 579 runs, maintained a strike rate over 230, and hit an unbelievable 53 sixes. This absolutely fearless 15-year-old, alongside other brilliant uncapped stars like Priyansh Arya and Anshul Kamboj, they perfectly represent this youth-driven wildcard revolution sweeping the league. Then, on the total opposite end of the spectrum, you've got the veteran elite finishers, guys maintaining insane strike rates. Tim David at nearly 197, Donovan Ferreira, Shreyas Iyer completely reinventing himself for Punjab, and of course, Heinrich Klaassen. Their sheer ability to just absorb intense pressure and violently swing the momentum of a match in the death overs, well, it's a massive headache for predictive math. Which really begs the question, doesn't it? How on earth do you mathematically model a 15-year-old playing utterly fearless cricket right in the middle of a high-stakes match? How does data science even begin to account for that raw human sports brilliance when franchises are desperately trying to optimize their chances of winning? That brings us to Section 4, the math of winning and simulating the unpredictable.
Here's where we get into the academic, mathematical backbone of modern IPL mid-match strategy. Now, don't let the jargon intimidate you. A Markov decision process, or MDP, is really just a mathematical framework. So instead of a captain going entirely on gut feeling, they use this framework to look at the exact state of the match. How many runs are needed, balls left, wickets in hands, and they use that to decide exactly who should bat or bowl next to squeeze out the highest possible probability of winning. So the crucial point here is this super efficient three-step process. First, analysts assess the match state.
Then, literally in fractions of a second, they run an incredible 50,000 vectorized Monte Carlo simulations of the rest of the innings. Yeah, 50,000. They're evaluating every single possible player combination against all those simulated futures just to output the one specific plan that maximizes their chance to win or defend. Let's move to our final segment, Section 5, Case Studies and Analytics, Auditing the 2026 Season. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole man versus machine battle in a real high-stakes 2026 scenario. In a clash between KKR and MI, Mumbai needed a batter at position 3. Now, Naman there had a massive death over strike rate of almost 204. That meant he absolutely had to be protected for those final overs. The math explicitly showed that Surya Kumar Yadav, who had this incredibly low middle-over dismissal probability of just 0.035, was the mathematically perfect choice to step in. He could bridge the middle overs safely so the heavy hitters could just go wild at the end. Flipping over to the bowling side, let's look at a matchup between the Gujarat Titans and the Punjab Kings. This really exposes the massive flaw of phase-agnostic deployment. See, aggregate economy rates can totally hide the truth. For example, M. Prasidh Krishna was actually struggling terribly in the death overs, with an economy near 9.8. Meanwhile, Rashid Khan was sitting right in the elite zone at 8.4. Yet, GT went ahead and bowled Krishna in those crucial death overs anyway. So what would the algorithm have done? Well, it would have perfectly reorganized that bowling plan while adhering to all the quota constraints, and specifically deployed Rashid Khan in the 16th over. Why? Because Rashid was a scarce resource with only one over left. The math places him exactly where his marginal contribution, meaning his ability to save runs at the death, is the absolute highest. Let's summarize the hard numbers on this. By simply applying these phase-specific data algorithms, like changing the batting order for MI or tweaking that bowling plan for GT, the optimal win probability jumps by 4 to 5 percentage points. And in professional T20 cricket, squeezing an extra 4 to 5% increase out of your mid-match win probability is absolutely massive. It's a total game changer. Which brings us to our final thought for today. Data undoubtedly improves probability, and it creates undeniable mathematical advantages, for sure. But can algorithms ever fully solve the sheer, unpredictable human brilliance of cricket? Will injuries, high-pressure moments, and fearless 15-year-old prodigies always keep the machine guessing? Honestly, I think they will, and that's the true beauty of the sport. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time. Welcome.